What's up, everybody? It's Chris here with Evenant, and today we're going to be talking about a library from Sonokinetic. It's their latest release called Indie. So before we get into the library itself, let me just talk a little bit about Sonokinetic's vision and kind of what they're all about. So Sonokinetic is a company that specializes in phrase libraries. And if you're not sure what a phrase library is, basically a phrase library is like instead of multi-sampling an instrument where you record every single note of the instrument, all the dynamics, different articulations, all that good stuff. You basically record the phrases or different composed phrases from for different instruments. So for example, if you have a string section, the company will actually ask the ensemble to play a bunch of phrases, which are basically composed little lines or melodies, you could say, or they could be like rhythms, harmonies, whatever you want. So the whole purpose of this is to get as organic and realistic of a sound as possible, and to make it as easy to plug in and play, and to get a really good sound out of the box. So that's a really good characteristic of phrase libraries. So usually these phrases range anywhere from 2 to 7 seconds. Just keep in mind that these are real performances that are already composed, and so you can use these phrases in your own music. The only downside to phrases is that they're a little less flexible, so you can't really change the notes within the phrase. They come as is, so you have to use the phrase as it's presented. So there's upsides and downsides, but Sonokinetic has really been a pioneer in this regard. And so today we'll be talking about Indie. So this library specializes in smaller ensembles and a more detailed sound. It has some jazzy elements, film noir type of stuff, really, really classy sound in general. So it retails for €250 normally, and it comes with 62 gigabytes of samples. Now, the sampled instruments include a string quartet of 4 players, a string ensemble of 13 players, a woodwind section of 7 players, a brass quintet of 5 players, and melodic percussion, which includes instruments like marimbas, xylophone, piano, and glockenspiel, just to name a few. All right, so let's dive into a little demo that I just did using the library, and then let me just dive into the interface and tell you what it's all about. So first of all, here is the track. So have a look at the MIDI here while I play this through. All right, there we go. So as you can see, I basically tried to create a demo track only using one instance of the library. And if you actually go into your libraries tab, or your library section, I should say, you can see that Indie comes as, or like you can see it in the library section here. So it's contact player friendly, which is great. So if you have the free contact player, this library will work. You just have to make sure that your version of contact is up to date. So it ships with basically just one patch. You just drag it in and use it as it is, and out of the box it looks like this. You'll see it's a little bit blurry. It's not for everybody, so I prefer to see it a little bit more clearly. So I click the logo, and these key switches are a little bit more visible, a little bit easier to see. So let's quickly run through the interface and then we'll talk about the sounds a little bit. So here you can see there's some different blobs at the top in different colors, and these represent the different orchestral sections that the library comes with. So the first one is, or the light green, is the string quartet, and it's represented here as, kind of this light lime green here. And then next to that, we have the string ensemble, and that would be this one, a different color. The blue section is the woodwinds, the orange would be the horns, the brass, and finally the brown is the melodic percussion, as you can see over here. So these are our sections, and basically if you click on one of them, all the different slots will become string or like the corresponding orchestral sections that you just clicked on. So if I just click on this green one, every single slot will now become a string ensemble phrase. All right, and if you would just want to change one or two of them, you can actually go into each one. Let's say I wanted to change this phrase here and map the C to a different phrase. I can click on this picture and it brings me up to this phrase selector, and then I can go into this and choose my section and then choose the different phrases and audition them as well. So let's talk about the way the keys are laid out here. So the most important ones will be the blue and the orange here. So the orange is where each of the phrases are mapped to. So from C all the way to B, you have 12 different phrases you can play at one time. And so let me just play a couple of them at random here, and let's start with the F. So this phrase, you hear it loops, right? So let's try a different one. Let's try the G one. Now here's the fun part. Let's actually play them at the same time. Ooh, that wasn't even the right phrase. I played E by accident, but that sounds lovely. Let's just add an F here. Beautiful. So as you can see, these phrases were made to basically work together and to be layered on top of each other. It's great because in this blue section here, it's where you can select the different chords that you want the phrases to play. So right now we're in C sharp minor, and now if I play a different chord underneath, I play the D minor chord there, so everything is now in D minor and it sounds just as seamless. 2, 3, 4. I can just play different chords all day and the phrases will automatically be fit into that key, So let's add in another phrase here, and so we have E, F, and G. Let's add in a C sharp. Lovely, let's add in another one. So let's say you didn't like adding that one in as much, so we can take that one away, stop playing that one. Now let me change the chord. So beautiful. Let's add in one more phrase here. Let's try the D. All right, I'll be honest, I could listen to that all day. So as you can see, each of these has a visual representation of the phrase that, that's being played. So you can see here in the brass one, it's kind of like a horizontal brush of paint, if you will. So let's just play this and see what it sounds like. So it really is kind of like a brush of, like a bed of sound, So let's see for A here, what do we have? Right, so that one is accurate, and let's try this one. This one I already know is the piano arpeggio, so which is really, really nice, and that just loops. So that's really nice. Now let's talk about these features just a little bit. So up here you have the purge function if you don't want this phrase to play, you can take it out. So just make sure if you want to hear it, you actually have to load it back in. But this is module control, and so this is especially useful if you want to control the volume of one phrase but leave another one's intact. So let's say I wanted to play these two phrases in succession, or at the same time, sorry, so simultaneously. And let's say I wanted to change the volume of this one, but not this one. So I can go to this one and select this mod wheel now, and basically it will not, or the mod wheel will not change this phrase. Okay, so let's do an example actually. Let's just turn off the mod wheel here again, and let's play C and C sharp phrases together and see what this sounds like. So you see there, the C phrase is this one. So no matter what I do, if I turn the mod wheel up and down, you'll see in the bottom left right here that I'm moving the mod wheel. No matter what I do to this mod wheel, the phrase will not change the volume. Or the phrase will not change volume, I should say. However, the C sharp phrase, because it has the mod wheel function enabled, it will. Right, so if you play them together, this could be very useful. You know, if you wanted the string quartet to kind of crescendo in while the steady bed continues to play, then that could be very useful as well. Let's move on to the notation view. So this is basically a score representation of what the orchestra is actually doing. So here you have the strings section playing, and you can see here the violins and the violas are all playing the same notes in their own part. So the celli are the ones that are kind of, you know, alternating and their pattern here. So it's very useful here, and especially if you can take the MIDI and drag it into your own productions, into your own project. Amazing. So here you can see that it lines up exactly as we expected. If we click on this one, the MIDI goes doot, 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 right? Just like how the celli did. So the MIDI drag and drop is especially useful. Like maybe let's say you didn't want to use Sonokinetic samples and you wanted to use your own celli or your own sample libraries. That could be very useful. Now, no Sonokinetic video would be complete without a discussion on harmonic shift. And what this is basically if I'm playing, let's say I'm playing a phrase, and right now I don't have harmonic shift on this enabled. So all this means is that if I play this one phrase, oh, sorry, it's purged, so I have to load it back in. All right, so let's enable the harmonic shift on this one. So these light green key switches here basically take whatever phrase is next to it and shifts that phrase up whatever interval I play relative to this key, or relative to the key of this phrase. So right now this key, or this phrase is an E major, right? And now if I play this phrase, this it'll still be an E major because it's on the C key switch of the harmonic shift function. So let's play them both together. But now I'm gonna play, let's say E on the harmonic shift. You see what I mean? So you see what I'm doing? So basically, let's just play this phrase by itself. Let's go back to C, and this phrase is an E major. Okay, so now if I play you this phrase is going to shift to F sharp minor. So let's hear that. You see, so now you can have an F sharp minor phrase over an E major phrase. Let's try a different key here. For the second phrase. Oh, sorry. So that's how that works. It's really, really cool. Very, very useful. Now, I have to mention the sound quality of this library, and basically all of their libraries, especially the most recent ones, the sound quality has just gotten better and better. This one is no exception. I mean, just listen to this. mean, this just sounds like a true natural live recording, which it really is. Let's hear this phrase. Go into the notation view, and it's just a tuba line. Beautiful. A quick discussion on the mic positions. So you have close, deca far, and wide, and you have the same here. Well, except you don't have deca here, but you have the none option. So let's see here. Let's say we wanted to mix the deca and far. So that's quite a far sound. Now let's say you wanted a really close sound. Okay, that tail is from the far mics for some reason. But anyway, it's quite flexible, and it's because I had them both enabled. If I had the none here and just the close loaded in, then you see it has that really tight sound, which is quite nice. So all of Sonokinetic's libraries were recorded in the same hall, which makes it very cohesive and easy to blend with the other libraries from the company. So very, very nice. So some people might be tempted to think that that the C phrase, or the phrase mapped to the C, results in a C major phrase, and a phrase mapped to C sharp, would result in a C sharp major. But it's a bunch of random phrases mapped to each of these keys, but they're all in the same key. And the way you actually change that is by playing the respective chords in the blue area. And let's say you only wanted to change one phrase, respective or, in relation to the another phrase, then you can use the harmonic shift function to do that. And it's very useful. And what haven't I mentioned here? You have your vol in here, so you can tweak the volumes here. I made this one a tiny bit softer than this one, just for the balance, which is nice. And then here you can go into the phrase selector. You have different ensembles here, and all of these different moods, they kind of evoke a different type of sound. So let's see, what does life sound like? How about this one? So nice harp there. Let's try city. Let's try woodwinds. Bed. So just a very, very nice sound. So in general, Sonokinetic's Indie is the newest installment in their line. This one is quite different compared to the others, the other libraries they've created. They focused on smaller ensembles. It's the first time they sampled a string quartet, which sounds lovely. And if you're looking for, some more grandiose sounds, they have some libraries like Grosso, for example. That's a great library. Just a bunch of different libraries with different moods to them that you can kind of explore. Oh, and another thing, as Evenant students, you get a 15% discount on Sonokinetic products. So just make sure when you go reach out to Sonokinetic, present your proof of enrollment, and I'm sure the team at Sonokinetic would be happy to help you out and apply that discount for you. Thank you so much for watching. This is Chris, and please leave a comment down below letting us know what you think of the library. If you picked it up yourself and play around with it, let us know what you think of it, and if you've inspired by it, the music you've created with it, and all that good stuff. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.